G'day, listeners. This episode is proudly brought to you by our sponsors, supshq.com.au. Use BWB15 at checkout to receive 15% off and direct shipping.
Welcome back, guys and girls, to another episode of Bros with Brains, the last one of 2022, I believe, unless we're feeling spicy and want to do one every hour on the hour until we're done. But not sure. The time difference is probably going to make that a bit more difficult.
3 a.m. here. Let's just shoot some shit.
Yeah, I mean, 3 a.m. there would be like, what, 10 a.m. here or something? No, 10 p.m. It'd be back. There would be 9 p.m., I think. 9 p.m. Perfect. I can do that.
Why not? Let's see.
Yeah,
Send it.
100%. Anyway,
we'll just do a continual live podcast episodes.
Just the live podcast.
Yeah, we're bringing the new year by chatting shit. You guys just tag along.
100%.
That's actually a bad idea.
Bro, I'm going to have 2 New Years. What are you talking about?
What?
I'll have 2 New Years if that's the case. I'll have your one because you're ahead, and then I'll have the one here because I'm behind.
Yeah, that's a fair point.
Well, anyway, how have you been? Been all right?
How have we been? Yeah, good. We've been good.
I'm worried that you had to think about that.
Yeah, I was trying to think. I was
like, how have I been? Like, you look in the mirror, start asking yourself, how am I? How are you?
Who's a good boy? Nah, I've been really good. Been good. Took off, shut up shop last Friday. Sort of had clients lined up to take until about the 5th, maybe off. We'll see how I'm going. Got a lot of stuff to get done over this sort of little break that I've got a lot. One of the best things I find about my attention span is like I'll have a bunch of different projects going at once and I'll forget how far into it I am. And so I went back to the project of like getting this course finished off. I got the time. I was like, there was no point post comp because I just wasn't quite mentally there.
Of course. Yeah.
And I went back to it and I was like, fuck. Now I did like an entire 80 or 90 PowerPoint slide on hypertrophy, biomech, MEV, MRV sets, like replicating, mapping out data. I started a psychology section, just like mindset tools and stuff like that, because mindset coach.
100%. It's your title now.
Yeah, pretty much. And I was like, I couldn't find it on my new laptop. I was like, fuck, because I basically I did like a G drive upload from my last computer to bring over. I was like going through, I'm like, fuck, where is this? I know for a fact I did it. Anyway, I'm like freaking out. Went back over and I had so much more done than I thought. I was like prepared to have to rewrite the whole, I'm going to have to do this whole hypertrophy module, power module, strength module, blah, blah, like case studies, implement everything I talked about. And I got through it. I'm like, oh, fuck. This has all been done.
Yeah, it's like, wait a minute. I've already done this. I didn't need to do it. We're good.
Yeah, someone gave me some modafinil that day and I nailed it. So I was like, 100%. Cool, sweet. This is taking some stress off the next 5 to 8 days. So no, I'm good. Had Christmas, New Year's. I was stuck to my eating disorder over Christmas.
I was going to say, to give yourself an eating disorder.
Yeah, I gave myself the biggest eating disorder. I had my normal breakfast. I was like,
Jesus, how dare you?
You can't hear me?
I said, Jesus, how dare you?
Oh, I thought it was hard to hear me.
No.
Yeah, so I was at mum and dad's. I stayed. Mum asked me to come up and stay Christmas Eve. I was like, yeah, rightio. Completely threw out my anxiety and my entire life structure, but whatever.
Oh my god, what am I gonna do? You 100% took your food.
Yeah, I did. 100% I did. I had my food mapped out and I was like, well, fuck it. I got my meals, like everything's on point. I'm eating to it. I had my usual breakfast. One of my dad's best mates has come up and he's like, he stays with mum every now and then, just help out around the house and stuff just to give her a hand. And he's up there and I'm making my breakfast. He's like, what the fuck is that goop? I was like, what? Cool. He's like, what do you fucking eat? It looks like cardboard. And I was like, yeah, what are you talking about? It was like, he's like, you've got about fucking 5 people's worth of oats and about 5 bananas. It was 1 banana and 100 grams of oats. I was like, what do you mean?
It's always better when it's more dramatic. Otherwise, what's the point?
I was like,
if you're not going to do it, then if you're not going to do it properly, don't do it at all.
That's what he thought it was.
Yeah.
He's the type of bloke who we went to dinner the night before and I got, crazy, right? I got rump steak with trim cut. I got mashed potato and potatoes, boiled potatoes and vegetables. Real piece of shit of me to stick to the food I would normally have. Anyway, and he's just like the type of guy where absolutely no veg should be consumed ever because it tastes like cardboard, according to him.
Pickle.
And I was like, fair enough, whatever. So the sight of a single banana in this bowl must have looked like to him about 10 years worth of bananas. So I was like, all right, fair enough. It was just like the sheer commentary
You
of this man because
you'd almost feel sorry for his missus.
like your bowel movements must suck.
I was
Actually,
thinking
actually come out.
more that if one banana looked like that, like how big's his
Well,
penis.
yeah,
But
that's fair.
yes, that joke went right over your head, but that's fine.
Yeah, it did. Yeah, I
Yeah,
realized what you're saying.
yeah, cool, yeah. Just
Also,
yep, got
a 5 inch banana is a big banana, right?
it.
That
It's
is an
not the
above average
size.
banana.
It's not the size, it's how you use it. So I've been told.
When you peel it back, that's all that matters.
Exactly right.
But yeah, it's just funny because he's coming out of the bathroom. He's like, I went on to eat vegetables, but I got very consistent stool movements. I was like, why are you telling me this?
Well, I mean, he's proud. I don't blame him. I'll tell you that too. Bro, just letting you know,
Yeah,
I shit like a machine. It's great.
yeah.
Thank you.
I was like, yeah, fair enough. All right, good for you. And yeah, so that was just funny because he's never really seen what I do. Like he's like dad's mate from they're like 12. And he's never really seen what I do. And he was like asking about work. He's like, I'm not gonna lie, I don't actually really know what you do. I was like, that's fair.
Yeah, I mean, it's like same.
Yeah. I was like, to be honest, same.
Yeah, I don't know. I just sort of sit here and do shit.
I just said like make people less shit. But I was like, to be honest, I'm still shit. So
yeah. It's like, what do you
make
do?
them be what I can't.
Yeah, exactly right. I lead them to something that I can't obtain.
I can never be less shit, so I made to make them less shit.
Exactly right. It's one of those do as I say, not as I do.
Yeah. But yeah, no, it was good. It was good. Just it was me, mum, him, a bit of family, and we just like chatted shit about dad and heard some stories and sort of that sort of jazz. But it was very eye-opening to the man he was when he was younger. The amount of shit that I copped for the things I did. I'm hearing all these stories. I was like,
and you're like,
he's fucking lucky he's not here. He's lucky he's not here. I would not be subtle about my commentary.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, it's funny because it's like I had that situation where it's like growing up, my grandfather when he was in Italy was because obviously Italian. That's where he was a real like cheeky fucker. Apparently, like in the town, he used to run amok. Like he was shocking. And I only heard these stories when I went back to Italy because then he came to Australia and he basically went full 180 and decided to be the most morbid, dark person on the planet who just hates life. So whatever, like he's one of those guys that like you knew what he was saying, but he never said a word.
Yeah.
Like he'd make sounds or give you looks, and you're like, okay, got it.
I fucking hate you, but I don't have to say it.
Yeah, like that's what he was like. And then we went to Italy, and the first time and hearing all these stories, and my dad basically, or my grandmother turned around and said, "That's exactly like what my grandson being me is like." And I'm sitting there laughing. I'm like my grandfather used to run around the town and like do the old school door knocking and then throw tomatoes at people that would like open the door. Like that's what he was like.
Italian throws tomatoes.
Yeah, 100%. Because that's what you do. I'm like, sure. Whereas then like they tell the story of when like my grandfather chased me around the table and I ran up the clothesline onto the roof. Nice. Yeah, he was chasing me around with like a fucking shoe.
Nice.
And yeah, it's great. And there's a photo of me like laughing at him and he's got the hose trying to like water me down. Didn't think that, maybe wet tiles is probably not a good idea, but hey, I was like 9. And I'm like, I guess I'm like my grandfather more than I thought. Not a bad thing. But it's funny, yeah, like you hear like all the old stories and you're like, okay, that's where I get it from. So
yeah, I'm
it's
like
your fault.
I'm like, yeah, I'm hearing this conversation. I'm just like, I don't know if like just stories because like they're like outback country AFL. Like he played sort of like the
one below AFL.
One below AFL, like Cup below AFL.
Yeah, and, depending on which state you're in, yeah.
And the fucking stories of when they play rural New South Wales. I was hearing these stories about like 5 minutes before the game because the country towns only had so much hot water. For 5 minutes before the game was over, no matter how far in front they were, he'd pull a hammy and go off in the hot shower.
Yeah,
100%. Fucking prick.
100%.
He isn't giving me shit for quitting or like dropping the ball, and he's just like sneaking off the game to go have a hot shower.
Fucking
and then all I hear about is like the golden showers that all give each other. I'm like, you guys sound real gay.
Yeah,
like,
100%.
I've been in footy rooms before in dressing sheds. And
that's
you guys sound a little bit gay.
Yeah, it's not a thing anymore.
If that was what you're into, cool. But I'm like hearing these stories of like ice cold water, and all of a sudden you feel warm water down your leg, and I'm like, this is a little gay.
Yeah,
like a little gay. I'm pretty sure there's a porn category online now.
It definitely is on OnlyFans as well. I've been told. No.
Yeah, not from personal experience.
I have definitely not searched that.
Yeah, no, it was just a bit of a laugh. It's funny how much like the family's starting to like come around to what I do now because all my gifts were just appliances,
Yeah,
like stuff to make food better.
I was gonna say, did you get any good gifts?
Yeah, yeah, I got fucking what I get? A new pressure cooker, a new rice cooker,
Yeah, can't go
um,
wrong.
a new a
Can't go wrong.
new sandwich press so I can make my
Yeah,
wraps toasty.
you get a coffee
Like
machine?
I didn't. Still
I'll,
drinking my
I'll send you one.
I'm gonna
I'm
open
gonna,
the door like a
I'm gonna
$5
tell,
coffee machine.
I'm gonna message Brooklyn and be like, hey, give me your bank details. I'm gonna transfer you some cash. I need you to go to JB and buy this fucking coffee machine. So when I'm there, I have a good coffee and not your fucking instant
this
coffee.
is
Yeah, like
this is an
fuck this shit.
investment for me in the long term.
100%. It's a present for you that also serves me.
Yeah. Don't have to spend $3 to $5 on coffee every time I'm there, and also it's not shit.
No, like I said, there's only that one cafe that we went to that was like $3. I'm like, this is great. Double espresso for $3. You can't go wrong. That
Well, that's
Italian
fair.
cafe there.
It's still not 20 cents like mine is, but whatever.
Nah, yours tastes like shit. I'd rather spend the
20
three
cents
bucks.
served. You're not
Yeah,
drinking it for the flavor. You're drinking it for the delivery of available energy.
it's both for me. All right. Unlike your large fucking Starbucks syrupy iced long black needs two penises in it.
I legit just get along black. It's not a simple drink. There's nothing else to it.
And we and his name is Samson.
But yeah, that's yeah, it's been good. I mean, fucking good. Business is going well. I've taken a bit of a break, but also, like I said, we've gotten some things finished off before the year opens back up next year. I've got uni, as we were talking about before the podcast. I've got uni to get organized. So I'm going to sort of streamline a bit more. I'll probably cap myself pretty soon around the 30-35 mark with clients. I think my prep clients for the time being are probably done. I want to make sure their systemization stuff is a lot more efficient before I worry about trying to take on others. I don't know. Like it's one thing to say you've got 60, 70 clients or whatever, but are you really servicing them if they're all in prep and they're all emotional and they've all got shit going on? Like I'm dealing with, I think like what, 10 to 15. And it's like, and then all one season. And I'm getting to the point where it's like, okay, that's a lot of people to deal with, a lot of emotions and body image and self-esteem, programming, systemization. How are you really handling 40 to 50 of that? I mean, you probably can be,
Yeah,
but
100%.
I don't know, the way I coach and obviously what I study and the way that I try to get their heads right before we go near a stage, I don't see a lot of people being able to do that with like 50, 60, 70 clients.
Yeah, well, I guess that's the thing too, though. Like when you look at it, so it's like for me, like I know that my goal for next year is to get back up to like that 60 client mark
Yeah.
online. And for me, it's literally 10 to 12 check-ins a day, 5 to 6 days a week. And then that's really like in terms of the, I guess, check-in process that's done. And then obviously managing the clients, like we're talking about, obviously dealing with the art of coaching them is going to be obviously where most of the work is done. The check-ins usually the easy part. But again, when I say 60 clients, like it's not 60 people that are competing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's where I think that difference is. It's like those people that have, 60, I know people that have like 60, 70 clients and they're fantastic coaches. Like they're awesome coaches. They get great fucking results. But you look at their roster, will say they only have 10, 12, 15 maybe people that compete. And obviously when you compete, like how often are you competing? You're not competing every season. You're competing every 2 or 3 seasons based on your off season and all that. So it's like really they're advanced lifestyle clients or, up until closer to prep. So
you're optimizing to a point.
Yeah, it's not that big of a deal when you have, 50, 60 of those types of clients. If you have 50, 60 bodybuilders, like actual prep, whether it be powerlifters, bodybuilders, like prep clients who are prepping all year round for something because of obviously the flow of clientele, then it's a different story.
Yeah.
But I don't know any coach that has that.
Yeah, no. I
You know what I mean?
some coaches that will take like, that season, they will take clients on. It's like, they've worked together maybe 6 months.
Yeah.
And obviously, like, I've got a few that are starting up, like, yep, I'm ready for season B. They've had coaching before. I just want to get as much info on them. So I'm like, all right, bring me all your data. If I don't have like a backlog of data from you, I'm not saying yes.
Yeah.
Because I want to be able to see what you've done, how you've done it, what your data says, like just little things like, and we've talked about it before, having a female that knows her menstrual cycle or like having backlog data on it. So I can go, okay, so your weight spiked here, your body confidence sort of dropped here. You felt a little bit off here. Stress was high here. Sleep was poor here. And all these numbers started to add up. When you have that, you're like, okay, we can correct these things, get you in a prep. It should be fine. If you don't have that and we're still trying to figure that out, it makes it hard to work together straight into a prep. Because you're like, well, what the fuck are you doing? Like, how do you respond to a cut? How do you respond to a surplus? How do you respond to diet breaks, refeeds? Fucking when you get your period, how long do you keep your period for? Is it heavy? Is it weak? So, all those things where, I just, to have that many prep clients, to me, it'd have to be like over spaced out seasons. Like you might have 10 going for this season. You've worked with them before, 10 for the season after, maybe 10 a year down the track. Like
Yeah.
I'm trying to set up the premise of our marketing to get in like a year and a half ahead. Like I don't want to be taking a lot of like high performance or prep clients like 6 weeks out from their event or
Yeah, of
6 months
course.
out from their
Yeah,
event. It's
100%.
like,
Yeah.
let's actually get you, like, you want to build to a show. Have you done one before? No. Well, let's start now for a year's time.
Yeah, you want to
Like,
understand somebody as best as you can because you want to.
exactly.
Well, the idea is that you're facilitating their goal as best as possible, and you can't do
Exactly.
that on 6 weeks, and some you can't do on like on 6 months prep, like or 6 months of I guess within inside a comp. The only way you do it is if they're an advanced athlete.
Yeah.
Like they're quite capable of being able to look after themselves and they know themselves quite well that they can give you, the detail that you need and you're like,
Exactly.
oh, okay, I can work with that. Whereas if you're
Yeah.
getting a beginner to an intermediate, it's kind of like, well, you might be okay because you might get lucky and have someone that's quite intuitive and understands themselves, but 9 times out of 10, like they've never, I guess, gone through the rigors or haven't
Yeah.
been through the rigors as often.
Yes.
And yeah, you need to find that point in them
Exactly.
and work
And
back.
I get like, I've had a few females start up where they're like, yep, next, I'm ready to go next year, as in like the year coming now. And, I'll just started putting them through deficits or like recomp phases or just recomposition phases where I'm like, let's tighten up before we do the next step. Let's start out from our maintenance. We've got maintenance, let's go to a cut, get you ready, and then we'll grow from there. So we have more of a runway to work with. And even that cut is like intense for them. And it might only be a 30-40% deficit. And it's like, well, that 30% is taken from the maintenance I built up. So we got you to, I've got some that I got 2,700 calories, 29, 31, and I'll take a 40% sort of from there. That's still a lot of calories when you look at a prep. Like, fuck, we finished on what? I was on like 50 carbs for 10 days and like 250 protein. That was it. Plus whatever like trace fats were left in my meats. You got to run that for 2 weeks and still function as a human. That's a lot more than 40% of a deficit from 3,000 calories.
Yeah,
So,
exactly.
and it's not an insult to these people. It's just that a lot of the time, like, you don't know what you don't know and you haven't experienced what you haven't experienced. So at a certain point, you have to go through it to know whether you're ready for it straight away or it's going to take time. And to me, if you haven't done an aggressive cut phase before, you haven't really done an extreme deficit phase, it's going to be hard to say that you can handle a prep. Like it just is, because there's going to be things where, like, can you sustain the mental fatigue, the anguish, what you go through, the emotions, the emotional deprivation, the mental fatigue, the physical exhaustion, like all that sort of jazz. So yeah, it's just like one of those things for me where we're trying to build up the marketability of saying, hey, like, I want to lead people and I want people to want to work hard, but work hard over time. Like, not only do you come to me with an intense purpose, but you come with me with the intent to delay that gratification, do it over time. I want you building up, like, as we've talked about 100 times over this year, things like a prep should just be complementing the life you've already got. It shouldn't be something that you're like jumping straight into
It
and making
needs to
all these
work.
modifications.
Well, it needs to work in with you, but that's anything. Like if it doesn't work
Yeah,
with you, it works against you. If it works against you, it's got a shelf life.
exactly.
Yeah, 100%. Like it's gonna something's gonna give, and it's gonna be the thing that doesn't
100%.
work for you. Like it's just the
Yeah.
case all the time. Like that. And it's funny though because we say it, but it's kind of like I feel like to me that's logical. Like
Yeah. And it
I
is
thought,
like,
and I hate doing that because people are like, well, they don't think that way, and I'm like, I get it, but I guess that's our job as a coach, right?
yeah,
We're trying to make things as easy as possible for the client.
exactly right. I mean, and like the big thing that I find, and like this wasn't even the point of this podcast, but the psychosocial parameters that come with the prep, getting people to understand that your friends don't care that you're prepping or that your family don't care. And we've got to actually gradually expose them into what we're doing. So it stops being like and I've been there, I've done it. You've had extreme cuts before, you've done it. You've done heavy lifts and meets before, you've done it. When you get to a certain point, all of a sudden the family's like, oh, you're looking skinny, like have some food, or like, are you eating today? Or we're going to go to dinner, are you coming? Or we didn't invite you because you're not coming because you can't eat. Or, do you want to go out for a drink? And eventually you've got to start, you got to start saying no, obviously, because the parameters are getting tighter and it's getting closer
Yeah,
and closer to
exactly
the
right.
show. And you like, if the family aren't ready for that, or if your friends aren't ready for that, or like they've never been, you haven't told them this
Exposed
is what
to
you're
it,
doing,
yeah.
exposed to it, like they just think you're being a dick. And then
Yeah.
that starts to weigh heavily on you because relationships are strained. Like it's taken years of some of my best mates. I'm lucky a lot of them already train or do things, but original circles and like even my oldest mate of like 16 years took a fair while for them to come around to. During these peak phases, I don't drink. Well, I don't drink in general, but I don't eat off plan. I don't deviate too much. I don't do XYZ. I will make time when I can to get to see you guys, see my god kids, see my family. I make sure that I bring food or I've got coffee or we can go somewhere that is inclusive of you guys so that I can be there. All that sort of stuff. It takes time to do that. And if you just go 0 to fuck everyone, I'm going to get prep, you're setting yourself up to either fail the prep or fail your friends or fail yourself. And especially I find as like one of the ones I'm finding consistently is females. And it's not a sexual dig or a gender dig. It's
How
just the
dare you?
fact that you're a lot more extrovertedly emotionally attached. And so when those things come up and it's like all these situations that you want to go do, it's like, oh, I can't do it because I'm in a cut. I
Yeah,
can't
because
do it because I'm in this phase.
FOMO.
Yeah, but and it's like, well, you shouldn't really have it
No.
because it shouldn't be a sense of restriction inside you. It should be a sense of like purpose towards a goal.
Yeah,
And
and it depends on the situation because you can always, it's funny, you can always make something work if you're really that
yeah,
determined to like go achieve it, right? Or go do it or do whatever, like whatever it is. Like we do have the extremes. You can like take food and stuff like that if you need to, right?
yeah,
We have also the other options. You just simply don't eat and just have like a coffee, sugar-free drink, something like so
yeah.
you're still interacting or whatever it is. If they're going to do some form of an event and you're just, drained and tired, it's like, well,
Mhm.
drink some coffee, off you go. Like,
Yeah.
fuck, do what you got to do. Like, if
Dude,
that's,
peak week, we're at the fucking movies and I'm sitting there drinking like a liter of Pepsi
yeah, it
Max.
was great. Like, fucking, what would we watch? Black Adam. But yeah, anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah, anyway, we won't get into that conversation again.
2 hours later.
Yeah, so title of this podcast, review of Black Adam.
Fuck Black Adam.
And the DCU. But anyway,
But yeah.
yeah, no, that's fair though. It's just I guess then, and it's like over Christmas as well, and over the New Year period, where people are prepping for like season A, and
Mhm.
obviously going to be a bit more restrictive now. Like as coaches, there's different ways to go about it, and like I know for me, not that I've got anyone prepping, I've got a couple of people sort of cutting weight for powerlifting comps, but it's not
Mhm.
that big of a deal. But just had them ready earlier.
Yeah.
Like I had them
Yeah.
ahead of their schedule, so
Mhm.
on Christmas and New Year's, because again, I like the guy, like I know my clients, like one of my clients is moving from 94 down to under 90s, and just basically said, well, like he's ethnic, his wife's ethnic, so Christmas is a big deal. Like
Yep.
I said, bro, we're just going to get you to under 90 before Christmas. So we
Yeah.
went extreme, got him to like 88. Like, go eat some food, relax, like have fun,
Yeah.
enjoy.
They got Christmas to eat some food.
And he only came up to like 89 and a half or something. I'm like, well,
Yeah.
yeah, like it's just food weight. I'm like, I'm not worried, bro.
Yeah.
Like, go
Yeah.
nuts.
Gonna shit that out, do some cardio to be back down.
Yeah, and be lighter. I think it came in at like 87. I'm like, well, there you go.
Yeah. And
Anyway,
I've got a lad going for season 8 and we are this will be week 4 into his like aggressive front end phase of his cut. Supplementation took a little while to arrive, so we're kind of like on the back burner of that, but getting
load
that
it.
back in, even with what's that?
Just load
Yeah.
it. Send
All
it.
right, we're doing 5 weeks worth
We
of
have to,
catch
we have
up.
to we have to catch up now. So
Yeah,
one
the
vial
way
of
cumulative
each.
doses work. I'm sorry. And yeah, like we just went ahead with like what are your plans? They went away the week before Christmas actually for like an early family event because they were going to be busy on Christmas. I was like, cool. You have that day's a refeed or that weekend, if you will, 2 days at 150 to 200% of your carbs. That's great. If you don't even want to track it, like just let me know. We can make some systems in place there. Then come Christmas Day, he's back to his normal food because his calories are still high. Like he's a jacked dude and his calories are great. So like even a 40% deficit, I've pulled him down 6.5 kilos in 4 weeks. And I'm like, cool. The point is here to get about 50% of our expected weight loss in this first 6 week period. We've done that leading into Christmas. So now we've got the kind of New Year phase to chill out a bit, have some diet breaks, have a refeed. And then we dig down again, take food up to like maintenance per se and kind of like de-escalate from there, I guess, titrate down. But he's already got that larger chunk of weight off so that Christmas and New Year's weren't a big deal. It's like, even if he like, he's not that way inclined, but if he was, we've already accounted for that. And he's still got 18 weeks like for season A for the IFBB. I think it's like end of April is like the season this year. It's
Yeah.
like, bro, we got ages. Like you're already ahead of time. You're already getting like your supplementation now and you're already ahead. So the supplements going in is going to make it even better. And we're already doing better.
Yeah, and
So,
it's like we know, as always, a bolus of calories in the grand scheme of things doesn't really do much.
yeah. But like I said, and someone posted, it's one day, not the month.
Yeah, exactly right. I wonder who posted that. What a dick.
Dick.
Must be a mindset coach.
Must have eating disorders.
Likes to give his clients eating disorders so he can fix them. That's how you keep the circle turning.
Exactly right. I need more clients with eating disorders. No, I don't really.
You give the problem and then you give the solution.
Exactly. I create the problem, then sell it.
Exactly right. That's how we work. Okay, Squat University.
But hey, we haven't addressed the fact that your background's different. The big fella is in Dubai.
I am. I'm here for 3 weeks. It's gonna be fucking epic. Should be nice. It's mid to late 20s most days. It actually rained the other day. It didn't rain when I was here. It rained while I was flying in and then stopped raining, but it looks
Yeah,
pretty
right.
dry now. Yeah, apparently it's like they only get rain like once a year, if that, and that was the time. And I'm
Is
like,
it
yeah,
like a
well,
yearly downfall
it's
though? Or
there.
is it just
Nah, it's a desert, bro. They're not getting
so it
much
is a
rain out
yearly
here.
downfall?
Yeah, like it's not too bad. But now sun's coming out now. It was overcast yesterday, but it looks pretty clear-ish most of the time. Yeah, we're looking pretty
Yeah,
good.
nice.
I'm gonna get out for some golf tomorrow and Friday. I can't wait.
Gonna pre-hydrate this time.
Nah, don't have to. It's only 25 degrees, but good. But I
Says
know.
that 45.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, no, my like I'll get out there, it'll be like 40 degrees. Like that can't be right. No, it is. Welcome to Dubai. Like yeah, that'd be right. It's like Melbourne. Like I
Yeah, it's like
left.
Melbourne with like four seasons, except it's four heat spectrums.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, it's just hottest, and
Yeah,
like hell.
yeah,
Yeah, it's like I left Melbourne. It was like 37 degrees on Tuesday or something when I left.
yeah.
I was
Right.
like,
Fuck you guys had some good
fucking
weather.
yeah, missed the sun on that one. We had a good weekend that whole week, Christmas weekend. It was great. But then fucking yeah, 37. I'm like, that'd be half my luck. And then
Man,
flying on a plane for 14 hours.
we had typical Queensland. It was like overcast, cloudy, sunny, overcast, cloudy, rain.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
Queensland summers. Fuck yeah.
Yeah, it's fucked. You just go further north. Fuck it.
Yeah, but nah, fuck that. I
Yeah,
don't do that
fair.
shit.
Fuck it. We're just gonna go
Like
west.
like
Go to
power.
just gonna go WA. Fuck it. WA
Gross.
northern WA where there's like no one there and it's
I
just
want to live
40
as a
degrees.
hermit.
Yeah, 40 degrees all day, every day. Doesn't change year round. Fuck it. But nah, it's been good, man. Good. Friggin' they have so you know how like Combank have cardless cash?
Yeah.
So I don't have a bank card for my accounts over here at the moment. I got to go pick one up. So like going to the bank, the branches here close at 3:30. Like
Mhm.
apparently that's a thing. Like anyway. So I ended up getting there a touch after 3:30 because by the time I landed and stuff, I'm like, okay, cool. I'll use my app, cardless cash, no stress. Pull out
Mhm.
some cash. So with Combank, you do it. It sends you the code to your phone, like your app.
Yeah.
Not over here. It sends a code to your phone, like via text. Problem being, my Dubai phone was here in the hotel. I'm like, motherfucker. So credit card account, gonna have to work that one out.
Deal with that guy.
Yeah, so I was lucky lady. And then I'm sitting there for a fucking hour and a half waiting for a cab. The line. There's so many people here because it's obviously the social time to be here because of
Yeah,
the weather.
fair.
Yeah, it's fucked. But yeah.
Is it so? This is not their summer, is it? It's their
No, it's their
winterish.
winter. Their
Yeah,
winter.
right.
Yeah. The summer's in sort of June, July, August when
Yeah,
it's
okay.
like 40 degrees at 5 a.m. So I'll be back in like May, June, I think.
Was it a straight flight or did you have a stop off?
Nah, straight flight, dude. Direct 14 hours. Yeah,
Nice.
living the dream.
Fuck that layoff shit.
Nah, I stayed because my flight was at 6 a.m. So I stayed up overnight.
Mhm.
Then, because I got to get to the airport at like 3:30 or whatever it is.
Yeah.
Got to the airport, sitting in the lounge, just chilling out, trying not to doze off. Didn't have any coffee or anything. So I'm like, nah, I need to sleep on the plane as soon as I get on the
Yeah.
plane. Got on the plane. I was feeling high, like I was drowsy. I'm like, okay, cool. We're good here. Took off my melatonin, ashwagandha, magnesium. Took it on the
Nice.
had one of each on the plane. Basically, had it just as we took off. 20
Yeah.
minutes in, my headphones, my earphones, they got noise cancelling. So I didn't have anything on. I just had the noise cancelling part on.
Yeah.
Fucking perfect, bro. Ears in, laying back. I'm like, I'm out. I slept for like 6 hours. I was dead. I was just out. I'm like, this is great. Haven't slept on a plane for 6 hours like straight. So it's perfect. But
Sorry, was
anyway,
that you just cut out a little bit? Was that me or you?
I don't know. It's probably here because it's hotel internet. But anyway, but yeah. So I just slept
Well,
6 hours straight. It was great.
nice.
Yeah. Woke up,
Win.
watched what I watched Top Gun, the latest one, which is
Good
good.
movie.
Yeah, it's good.
Good movie.
It's good. So I watched that and then threw on Spider-Man. I was like, I'll watch like 20 minutes, half an hour of that. And by the time it sort of set up, time to descend and time to land. Like, cool, off we go.
Not bad.
Yeah, I can't complain.
Is this longer than you were there last time? You were there a week last time, weren't you?
Yeah, because it was fucking 45 degrees.
Yeah.
I'm not staying here for
Yeah.
3 weeks.
3 weeks.
45
Not
degrees.
bad.
Yeah, 3 weeks now is perfect. So I'm gonna go check out like Abu Dhabi and stuff, and a couple of people up here I know. So I'm gonna check out some of the gyms. So I did a hotel gym session this morning. Hotel gym's horrible. So I'm gonna go. So there's a couple of gyms close by. So I'm gonna go sort of suss them in the next couple of days and work out
Are there any
a pass.
O2s in Dubai? I know they're in Kuwait, but are there?
I don't know actually. I think there. I want to say I think there might be. I could be totally wrong. Let's have a
Yeah.
quick look. But
So,
I'm
did you
not
see
sure.
like something I found interesting this week was all the not the excuse videos, but all the commentary coming out of Olympia, like people that were hit and miss, people that were off that should have been on, and blah blah blah. Yeah, it was funny. It was funny that the amount of athletes that had an excuse or someone to blame or something to blame or like, what have you, or people distancing themselves from who didn't place the way they thought they should have. Like the one good thing I'll respect for Ian was he pulled down his tantrum and then actually like took ownership and was like, you know what, I fucked it. This was what we were supposed to do, blah, blah. It didn't pan out. The later the show, like I kept fucking slipping and I woke up, check in photos, you can see them with what's his name, with
Pat.
Peter Tour,
Oh yeah, yeah.
Pat, sorry,
Pat Tour, yeah.
Pat Tour. And you could basically see I was ready to go. And just the longer the day went on, the softer I got and the flatter I became. And I was just like trying to chase my tail. He's like, didn't work out the way we thought. And I was like, cool. Someone actually taking ownership of like their decisions as opposed to being like, oh, it was this because of this and this because of this. Yeah, it was just an interesting week post Olympia to
Yeah,
see the way people were
yeah,
rushing.
reacting and turning around.
Yeah.
And it's like, fuck, man. At the end of the day, you fucked it. You fucked it. Like,
Yeah.
just fucking who cares? There's always another
Legit.
one. There's always
Yeah.
another one.
There's
Like,
always another one,
yeah, and it's
especially
not
if you're in
like,
that top 10, like you're coming back. So
yeah,
chill.
well, like even Ian, he finished what 12th or something, 13th, but you know that he's going to
11th.
qualify.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know he's going to qualify again. Like,
Yeah.
he's been in the last what 4 Olympias or something in a row.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, you'd have to really butcher it not to qualify again, and then not potentially do much better than you did.
Yeah.
But
That'll definitely not be his last stand at Olympia. So to me, it's like, cool. Now that the socials are giving you a lot more of a voice platform, you just have to back it up. Next
yeah, well,
time, get it
it's
right.
like the big one they were saying with Rami, like how he looked a week out.
Yeah.
Yeah. The photos of him like a week prior. Don't get me wrong, he looked phenomenal a week prior. I don't know
Mhm.
what they did for him to come in on show day the way he did, but
No idea.
no, because yeah, like if they went by the photos again from 1 week out, he probably would have.
Yeah.
He probably would have won. Like he would have been. It would have been very close.
It was on the most recent bro chat. It was Ian's first episode after the Olympia.
Yeah.
And they call it the Dennis James Award. You look good.
A week out.
You look good a week out leading
Yeah,
up to
yeah.
the show.
Yeah.
It was like doing. He's like Honey. No, what's his name? Raymond Jose.
Yeah, Roman. Yeah.
Yeah, he's like if you were judged on the week out, he's like
Yeah.
you were ready to go. You would have been
Yeah.
top 6.
Yeah, 100%.
But yeah, he's like, and I love you. You just fucked it. And he's
Yeah.
like, you get what we call the Dennis James Award. You look good
Yeah.
a week before the show.
Yeah, 100%. There's heaps of them that look good like a week out, and then heaps of them just
Yeah.
fuck their peaks. It's like, well,
And this is
what'd
what I
what'd
love
expect?
about the extremities of what we do, and I try to explain to people is like everyone looks good in isolation and a vacuum, but no one is on stage in isolation for more than their routine.
Yeah.
Like even what's his name? Fuad. He's
Yeah.
like when Brendan came out, I was like, oh shit, he's won. And when Remy came out, I was like, oh shit, he's won.
Yeah.
When Nick walked out, he's like, that's an Olympia. That's a Mr.
Mhm.
Olympia. And then there was someone else who came out, he said the same thing. He's like, when they
Yeah,
all got
would've been-
together,
Yeah.
I was like, oh, actually, his
Yeah.
calves are missing, his triceps gone, he's got no detail on his legs, he went too full instead of
Yeah.
detail, blah, blah. It's like, yeah, this is why we compare the elites against each other.
Yeah, exactly right. Because that's the whole point of the sport.
The
They're the
premise of
genetic
sport, right? Yeah.
the genetic elite of the elite of the elite.
Yeah.
And then they turn around and say that they're not genetically gifted, and you're like, suck a dick.
Yeah. No, I just worked hard. Yeah, I worked hard with genetics of a freak. Shut up.
Yeah. It's like, no, yeah, like you still have to train hard, but you're a genetic freak. So.
Yeah. You have to expose those genetics to growth, but at the same time, you have those genetics.
Yeah, exactly.
But yes.
Questions?
Yeah, we're at the end of the year.
Yeah, we are.
It's crazy. Another 12 months of us talking shit.
Standard.
That's not 12. That's not limited to 12 months. It goes on way outside the podcast.
Any day ending in Y. Let's be real. It's just how we roll.
It is. But yeah, I guess it's been a fucking big year. It's been a very big year.
Been a big year.
Fucking big year. But I was like, because I was asking everyone what their goals were, and like, I rarely try to brag about goals or achievements.
Of
I
course,
just know I've done them, or I'll like, yeah, cool, this is what I did. What's next? But like, when I actually sat there and started writing out what I've done this year for academics, for the business, for my personal gain, for training, comp, career, I was like, okay. And then even looking at like people that I've met, that I've talked to, that I've engaged with, like each year I just seem to find the circle of people I interact with just keeps getting bigger and bigger. And not as like I'm in like this elite circle now. It's more so like the level of conversing that I can have now is like tenfold what it used to be. And you just watch that keep expanding each year. Where like, I've got some mentoring calls booked in for approval with Broads. So I want to get some like face-to-face time chatting with someone like him as well. Yourself, Dalton, but then there's like people outside of that where I've talked to Olympic coaches, I've talked to SAS veterans, I've got geneticists, and I've got astrophysicists in the works as well. It's like all this different shit where I'm like 12 months ago, 2 years ago, 3 years ago, no way in fucking hell was I having those conversations confidently about what I was going to talk about. So even the growth of this year as coaches and educators has been like fucking huge for me.
Yeah, we just need to get you high on those podcasts, and we just call you the Australian version of Joe Rogan.
Pretty much. I mean, I'll do it.
Send it. Just send it.
Like, no filter. Let's talk about this.
Yeah, 100%. Well,
how many people did you shoot in the face?
Yeah, you're going to deep dive into like astrophysics. You may as well be high for it.
Yeah. At that point, I was like, cool, let's go.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, I was like, just looking back on this year, because what I started like the coaching side in October last year. So this 12-month block is like the first real takeoff point. I went back. There's a 400% increase on October to October, November to November, December to December. Obviously, I don't have any more data to compare between that, but like where we started in workload in October last year versus like where percentages are now of client retention, client interaction, of website interaction, yada yada. There's a 400% yield from where it was a year ago, which is like obviously that's not going to be the continued data.
It's like now you need to beat that.
I'm going to get 401.
401% growth in the next 12 months and go.
It's legit. And it's like, and then on top of that, which we haven't really announced yet, but the Matter Corp is now our actual title, and Matter Athletic Coaching is the subglomerate, the sub entity. I don't know what do you call it? It's the thing.
I call it a branch of your company, but sure.
Yeah, it's a branch of the company. So Matter's been incorporated as a company, PTY Ltd, and
proprietary limited. Proprietary limited.
Proprietary limited. PTY Ltd.
Yeah.
Triple X.
Yeah. OF.
But like, to go from that position a year ago to like, hey, I've actually got to sit down with my accountants, my business advisors, and be like, look, this is what we're doing. This is the next step of the plan. There was a lot of talk of like, oh, just wait till it's happening and it's ready to build out that skeleton. And I was like, well, no, it's happening. I want the skeleton ready so that it can handle the expansion. Like, expand with the plan. Don't wait to then have to plan how to expand it. So I was like, let's get that stuff, the ball rolling. And yeah, it's like in just a matter of a year, obviously a lot of thanks to yourself for that, because you've helped with me just chatting shit, coaching models and how I do things and running ideas by and whatnot, but just the simple like softer skills of like what's even looking back over the year of the way I've coached and data and progressions and learning, like programs that I revisited, I'm like, oh, I could have just simply done that better, which,
it's the beauty of hindsight, right?
Yeah, right. That's what I was going to say. It's like, yeah, it's great. For some people it might take several years, but I guess because we're so meticulous with like wanting to be better and like I want to nail what I know now so that I can learn more later. I was like, well, I'm not going to wait until like 2 to 3 years to be like, oh, I could have done that better. Went back to old programs, looked over them, like, oh, I did exercise selection or set markers or volume markers or training intensifier sessions, like all these things where I could have just done it slightly different, got a better outcome and a faster return. Those clients still got results, but it's like, oh, we could have tried this, or maybe I shouldn't have extended that cut phase for this length, or I should have put them into a growth block sooner. Little things like that, where I was just like, and now how I periodize and phase things is just in the space of a year, it's like 2 different coaches, but it's purely just from us putting that work over the year to be like, well, I consistently want to get better.
Well, that's just it. If you're not progressing, then you're either falling behind or you're dying, right? Like, what's the point?
Literally, like that's what like Goggins says in his new book and his old one. Is like there is no maintenance, there is no like plateau. It's either you're getting better or you're getting worse because time is going. So everyone else is getting better than you. You can never stay the same. You've either spent the time to be behind or you're getting ahead.
Yeah, exactly right. The goal is to try not to sit back too much.
Exactly. And to do that in a year, I think because I knew it's back to uni next year, that it was like
big push.
This 12 months needs to be established so that everyone knows what Matter is. Like whether you're in Brisbane or Melbourne or Sydney, like if I were to say, hey, we're doing a seminar, you'd be like, oh, Matter's coming to teach. Like I'm not saying it'd be a sellout crowd, but you'd be like, oh, they're coming.
Yeah, 100%.
The boys are coming down. Like you'd be like, cool, fucking elite strength and Matter are coming down. to sort of be in even in that level of conversation to me is like, yeah, what we intended for the last 12 months to be, if not more.
Yeah.
And to, obviously the prep side of things was an interesting time to join opening the business and prepping. Like, cool.
Yeah, you can only get to a certain point, like I told you before. It's just like, okay, I'm just gonna keep you guys ticking over until
Yes.
I'm back.
Like if we looked at coaching as like a volume metric, the the top of my progressions hit around the same wall as my onboarding for clients. It
Yeah.
was like where you can keep progressing intensifiers and increasing set markers and strength, plateau. Okay, it's going down, or if
Yeah.
it's holding, I'm gonna
Yeah.
I'm gonna stay here.
Yeah.
Similar
This
to
is
like
this is
exactly the
good.
same with
This is
clients.
comfy. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm like, I can be here, sustain myself, not go broke, not affect my clients any more than I already am, not take a step back or under deliver, but I'm also not going to get better for the next, say, 6 to 8
Yeah.
weeks.
This is like your new set point. We call this
Yeah,
homeostasis.
exactly. It's like if I can hold 20, 30 clients at this set point, then when I go to 30, 40, 50, like, okay,
Yeah.
that's the new one.
Yeah,
And I
100%.
was like, yeah, it was ironic how it matched in a linear fashion. Like they're both going the same rates. Like this one's expanding the same, but then also hit the same maintenance point. And we're probably going to stop here for the rest of prep.
Yeah, for sure. That's good,
But
man.
yeah, it's a heck of a year. On top of you opening a fucking gym and
Yeah. Opening a gym,
fucking
getting
everything else.
pneumonia, getting COVID. Like,
Yeah.
been a year, that's for sure. That's for sure. It's going to be good. Go through some system business reviews and updates and shit over the next couple of weeks while I'm up here.
Mm-hmm.
Less distractions, which is
Maybe taking the full like 3 weeks off from clients. I know we spoke about
no,
like
no, no,
2
just the
weeks.
week. No, 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 just the week.
Okay.
Like I said, I prepped it and got everyone. I usually do it unless I've got client specific for prepping, where I'll obviously still look after them. But I haven't got
Yeah.
anyone really prepping for like anything in season A, I guess, because powerlifting is pretty straightforward. So um, I'll just do some back end work, which I usually do my yearly review and what was good,
Mm-hmm.
what was bad. I'll go through like quarterly, half yearly, and yearly income streams and compare
Mm-hmm.
them to last year. Obviously, I know that this is going to be much worse than the previous year, but because I opened the gym.
Yeah.
So from an online business perspective, I'll just have a look at
I
the
look,
markets and stuff like that.
a
And
positive way to look at that too is also like you made a linear move, which is, you stagnated as you
yeah,
opened a second stream of income and business.
yeah,
Now they both get to grow at the same time.
yeah, exactly right. Well, now it's like as it is with anything, it's like Nutrigrain, you get out what you put in. The old
Yeah,
Nutrigrain ad.
exactly right.
Yeah, you literally get out what you put in. So it's like I couldn't put in as much effort and time as I would have liked into my online.
Yeah.
Not so much the clients, because the clients always came first. So I'd always put
Mhm.
everything I had into the clients. But then
Yes.
obviously what gets me the clients is obviously advertising, content,
Yeah.
and all that sort of stuff, which I hadn't done for a long period of time. Again, by the time I sorted out the gym and stuff like that, looked after my clients and their needs, I got to a point where I'm like, nah, I'm too fucking tired. Like I cannot be bothered
Which,
going out of
if
my
you're a
way.
listener,
Yeah.
by the way, if you're listening, that is a branch that Matt can help with in the coming year. So keep an eye out for that.
Yeah. So like I could not be bothered creating content, going to the gym to record content and then think
Yeah.
or come up with smart things to talk about or
If
things
only you
that
had someone that could, outsource that for you.
well, I mean, I enjoy it. It's like I don't need to
No, no.
outsource. I don't
Taking
need
the
to
piss and talking about
outsource.
Brooklyn.
Yeah, I know. But it's like I don't need to outsource what my job is.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
kind of my job. Like
Yeah.
my
Fair.
job is to look after the clients and then get the clients. That's part of the whole
How do I
so
VA this?
yeah, circle of that. So um I mean, yeah, the point next year, my point would be to get to 60 clients by mid next year. If I get to that, like an average cost per client, like I've got the numbers already in my head, like written down. So I know how to work
Yeah.
back from it. And that's how I sort of function. So it would then mean that I can bring on, whether I bring on a VA, whether I bring on something for social media, whether I bring on
Mm-hmm.
another coach. I've got a few different ideas in the works. It'll just be, which one falls where. Um, but yeah, a lot of plans to come through. So next year's going to be fun. This year's sort of done and dusted and, it's been big, sort of diverted a bit, but
Mm-hmm.
I reckon next year will be a fun one. No real big plans. It's just time to get back to like what we do best.
Yes.
Yeah,
So,
it'll be good.
um, yeah, I guess like that's kind of the year in review, right?
Exactly right. Like it's pretty straightforward. Big year. Do it again.
Shit happened. I'm tired.
Yeah.
Did a lot.
Let's
Life ain't
get
over yet. I'm gonna do it
100%.
again.
Should we get into some questions?
Yeah, let's go into a couple of questions. I've got some good ones, got some funny ones. I
All
think
right.
some people misread what I meant about drugs.
The
Should
good
have wrote
stuff for
PEDs, wrote drugs, rookie
so
errors.
drugs work. It's always fun.
Drugs always work though. All right. What's in store for Bros with Brains next year? Obviously, a lot
Nothing.
more of this.
Nothing.
Obviously, a lot more of this, and
Mm,
then nothing because I have a headache, so I'm done. No.
yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, a lot more of this. We've got our lecture series and stuff, your seminars that we want to
Mm,
get into. So there's actually a few other questions about that in the coming questions, so we'll get to that in a second. But yeah, a lot more of this. Going to get more Brooklyn more involved with planning out content for the actual Instagram. I think like that'll lead to a lot more generate interest. Like it'll just cyclically work. Like
yeah.
obviously for client marketing and stuff, like
Mhm.
we will just have more interaction with us on there. And then obviously have content that will then lead to the podcast, which will then lead to people finding us and that sort of
Of
jazz.
course.
So we'll have a bit more of a strategy there. I think to be more, given that what my capacity was, your capacity was,
Mm.
prep, business, life, it was just making that Instagram take off probably wasn't the ideal situation.
No, I mean it's gone all right considering we only post one clip a week.
Yeah, exactly. So, there'll be a bit more there. And then obviously, yeah, when we get to up and down the coast, I think we start with say like a Melbourne, a Brisbane, and then like a New South Wales.
Well, I
Um,
feel like you'd go one way or the other, but I get what you're trying to say.
yeah,
Yeah.
little East
Yeah.
Coast stuff.
Yeah.
We'll work our way over the rest of them.
Yeah.
Fuck Perth. Fuck those guys.
Yeah. I mean, well, it'd be good because we're doing some like what hypertrophy stuff. We'll do some training,
Hmm.
female phys stuff. We'll do some
Hmm.
PED crap, supplementation, some nutrition. We'll throw it all in there. I mean,
Yeah.
qualified to cover most of that stuff, so it should be fun.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, it's like it'll just be us depending out whether we make it like a weekend like
Yeah, like
seminar, whether
a
it be
proper
like single
workshop.
workshops.
Mm.
Yeah, like just be us to figure it out. But
Yeah, the hypertrophy
yeah, some
workshops will be fun, especially
yeah,
if we get access to practical stuff. Oh, it's gonna
yeah,
be
yeah.
fucking sick. Just anyone
Let's
listening,
see what a giant
if you
set looks
intend, yeah,
like.
if you intend to come, get ready to cry.
Yeah. Jolie came. Oh, all my guys, like after face to face interaction, like the difference in their training already and the data they give me, they're like, oh, my load's gone way back. So don't be mad. I'm like, no, it's not because it means you're
No,
training properly.
yeah,
Like, that reduction is a good thing.
yeah,
It means your strength isn't what you thought it was because we
exactly.
corrected a few things.
Yeah, exactly right. It's like I tend to, like I said, I get that a lot because I coach a lot of my guys to go as close to failure as possible without dying. So it's like,
Yes.
yeah, the load always starts quite low, but then when it does build up, it's like, oh yeah, here we go. Now we're
Yeah.
talking.
Yeah.
And it's like
Um,
it's very visible.
yeah, that'll be a good fun workshop or interaction. Um, why why is drugs so good? Illegal question mark? It's because they're illegal. Yes, the
It's
sense
no,
of
it's
restriction makes it so exciting.
not even that. It's because they work.
Yeah, yeah, well, yeah, yeah.
It's the
You want
best
to feel what more
It's yeah,
dopamine feels like? Take your
it's the best
cocaine.
Broderick line ever. He's like, you know why drugs are so fucking good? Because they work.
Yeah.
That's why they're so damn good. Like, I mean, I can't argue your logic, bro.
I bought his hypertrophy notepad
Oh yeah, right.
his
Yeah,
stimmer one. I was like, yeah,
his
I'll grab
sticky
this and see what
notes.
he covers. Yeah, his sticky notes. And I
Yeah,
was like, oh, it's literally what I expected, but I was like, there's more reading for me. Obviously on my never ending quest of feeling not good
yeah,
enough to
it's
know what I know. So I'll always
hugely
learn more.
basic.
Yeah. But it's just like the statements. He's like, who's this for? The enhanced individual wanting to know how to take the utmost of their physical development or
Yeah,
hypertrophy
he
and
only works with enhanced. Like everything he
yeah,
does is for enhanced. Like he'll blatantly come out and he says it in his lectures. It's the best. He's like, I don't like natural people. You are boring. I'm
yep,
like, I mean,
yeah.
fair. I get it.
And it said, who's this not for?
Yeah.
Pussy chicken neck natties who won't
Yeah.
achieve shit. I'm
Yeah.
like, this guy
Yeah.
going straight in swinging.
Yeah. Sounds like broads. Like he doesn't wake up and choose violence. He is violence.
Yeah, yeah. He is violence incarnated.
Yeah.
Um, you only think about snacks when you're hungry. Oh, something that someone mm.
Mm. Do
Trying
you
to
only
rationalize
think
what part of the
you
question that this was.
is it like do you only think about snacks when you're hungry? Was that the question? I mean, when you're hungry, yes, you think about
Potentially.
food.
Yeah, I think it's leading to like we were talking about the psychological association with nutrition and how your mind will go to certain places for food. Um, I mean, it's not just snacks though. It's like you will literally think or crave about anything you feel restricted from. but at the same time, Catholic Church, we will also like it's not just snacks. Like you would enjoy like when I find someone's really hungry, if I offer them a kilo of broccoli and they said yes, I know they're hungry. If
Yeah,
they
well,
said
yeah, exactly right. It's it's a funny thing. It's like you're depending on obviously severity of restriction and that sort of stuff, right? So it depends. One was going to be like much more psychological, but one is actually going to be a physiological phenomenon where your body's going to turn around and
yeah,
start producing these hormones and it's going to say, well, hey, look, I am fucking hungry. Send
yeah,
food now.
yeah,
Like, and that obviously has a cascade effect then on the psyche of the
yeah,
person. So
exactly.
yeah,
And one of those thought associations is the heavy interaction between the olfactory and your hippocampus,
yeah,
which is going to then be indicative of you trying to find and think about food.
yeah.
So the direct association,
And
if
then
you will.
justifying the decision to eat it when you
Yeah,
shouldn't.
exactly. Yeah, you then like the
The
lack of
aftermath.
prefrontal function.
Yeah,
Yeah,
100%.
like your inhibition and your lack of inhibition and
Yeah,
cognitive fatigue, like the
exactly right.
prefrontal cortex, like
Yeah,
fuck your goals. I just
yeah,
want
yeah,
food.
exactly right.
Oh, I just I worked an extra 20 minutes today, therefore I can have this 500 calorie
It's,
surplus.
the funny thing is, it's like we talk about it because we know because we've done it. Like,
Yeah, 100%.
100% I've done. 100% I'm like I've looked at a chocolate bar and been like, I'm in a deficit. I shouldn't eat that. I've done a lot of work. I'm going to eat that.
Yeah,
Like,
exactly right.
and
I trained
like,
for an hour today.
yeah,
There was
like,
20
yeah,
minutes of rest breaks, but
yeah.
whatever.
It's just within. You got to be within reason.
Yeah, exactly right. But yeah, it's always an interesting one. When it's always interesting when newbies start to get into dieting, they start to find these associations. Like you thought it was just simply eat less food, but now we get to the psychosocial, we get to the psychodynamic, we get to the psycho-associated physiological, and you're like, there's a bit more to it.
Yeah, 100%.
What if any in-person seminars are planned in 23? Not planned, but as we sort of
Yeah,
about said before, they're planning esque. They are in
yeah,
planning
100%.
phase.
Yeah, like I said, we're going to probably put down a ton of content on a whole stack of different topics that we can cover, and then from there pick which
Yep.
topics we want to do where. But
Mhm.
definitely I know for me, I really want to get into a biomechanics
Mhm.
and practical hypertrophy
Yep.
seminar. That's going to all, whether it be a seminar, daily seminar, or like a weekend seminar, and we combine a whole
Yep.
stack of shit. We'll like, come up with the finer details. I've
Mhm.
got a couple of components I've already started writing for female phys. So talking about a lot of female physiology, training, nutrition for female phys, as well as looking at the pill and stuff like that. So
Mhm.
we'll do a little bit of a deep dive into that and how they work, I guess,
Yep.
and how they can affect physiology when it comes to training and stuff, and
And we'll also associate
all
the
of that
like
shit.
yeah, and like something I want to attach to that we kind of got into at the expo. Is that mine? Is it gone
Yeah, you
yellow?
focused out. Yeah,
There we
there
go.
you go.
There we go. Um, I'm a little bit more pretty than that.
Yeah, your camera's like, fuck this.
I'm out. I'm out. Bounce. The perception of and the psychological and psychodynamic relationships with female physiology, performance, menstrual cycles, getting women a bit more clear on the actual data because it gets pissed on, but I hate the wives' tales of like, oh well, you're going through your period, so have 1,000 calories extra because cravings, or you need this week off training, or let's periodize your training block because mentally you're just not going to be there. Wrong, but it is like we actually have the data to kind of present and discuss why that happens. So there's a few things alongside there that we can actually talk about in your training and around your training programming as to why it occurs. But yeah, there's some fun stuff we can associate there too.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, we do have enough. I mean, I've got enough like anecdotal evidence to also
Mhm.
support the, actual peer-reviewed evidence that comes up as well to show that it works, considering I've worked as a coach for many years. Plenty
Mhm.
of data there.
Sorry, bro, but anecdote isn't evidence. Just ask the evidence crowd.
Yeah. All right, bro. I think, like I said,
um,
they always forget that anecdote is still evidence. But anyway,
yes.
stupid fuckers.
Most commonly asked question in 2022.
Can I start steroids?
When's my first cycle?
Can I take this? Can I take that? How about this? Can I do this much? No. To be honest, it's probably my most common question.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think. Like, yeah, that probably is my most common question,
Yeah.
to be honest. Like, I've done a ton of consults this year for people, looking at cycles and
Mhm.
more education on it, and how to do it, what to do, how to, all that sort of stuff. And
Yep.
so I guess the overarching, I guess, like branch of that would be like, steroids and starting
Yeah.
steroids, AAS use. That'd be for me.
Mhm.
Yeah.
That's fair. Oh God, one of the most common questions. So, because I have so many unique clients, but
Yeah, that's what I was trying to think. It's kind of like my clients I've had, I'm very fortunate. I've got like a really good client retention rate. Like my clients I've had
yeah,
for like at least 2 years, most of them. It's like they don't really ask me like for this year particularly, right? Like they haven't asked me many questions that I guess is reoccurring across all of them, if that makes sense.
yeah,
Like they're
yeah,
like not really. Like it could be like, oh, can I have some food here, or can I cut harder here,
yeah,
like shit like that. But it's like, yeah, the most reoccurring I think question of the year would be in general, not just clientele. Yeah, steroids and
yeah.
like
Actually, I
what, when, and
think
how.
I think the big one for me would be around how to practice acceptance and kind of like still progress in things. Like,
Yeah,
I know
fair.
we rip a little bit on acceptance as a singularity,
Yeah,
but I use acceptance heavily involved in progression, and
yeah,
I I
100%.
hate I hate acceptance and stagnation. I just despise it.
Hmm.
But if you're able to accept, and this is like across a wide realm of things, like whether it be like nutritional choices, goals, relationships, families, friends, like how to practice, or like I guess tips or tools will generally be the question. Like, how do I get through this, or how do I implement this, or how do I practice that? In the sense of like I guess the umbrella of acceptance sort of therapies. Um, it's a big stay of my coaching. I think that gets people through a lot of their shit. And kind of once you have the tool, then it's like, oh, just do that across fields,
Yeah.
or areas. But yeah, I'd say that'd probably be a big one for me, or most consistent in everyone's different uniqueness.
Hmm.
What have your clients taught you? Oh, that's a good one.
What clients taught me.
Hopefully, nothing's a pay me to be taught. No, I'm kidding.
Nah, I can you're always learning something from someone. And it's funny, it's probably like something so generic in that there's, how like the saying there's never a stupid question, but it's I guess like the
Mhm.
range of the questions that come out that you would never have thought of. So it makes
Yeah.
you have to think. And again, I'm very fortunate that I do coach a lot of coaches and I guess more educated in my field or our field.
Yeah.
So I do get some interesting questions every now and
Mhm.
then, like where a client will want to do something and change something maybe in a program, maybe change
Mhm.
something from a nutritional standpoint or something like that. And it's kind of like for me, I'm pretty flexible. Like if it makes logical sense and it works within reason and still works to the scope of the goal, then go for it.
Mhm.
Um, so definitely learning a couple of different approaches again. That could be then implemented elsewhere with other clients. It's kind of like, if I have one client that's like, oh, can I shift this protein source to this, or can I manipulate this? Like, oh, maybe I can do that with one of my other clients who's having a very similar problem, issue, whatever
Yeah.
it is. Probably more so in that sense, but there's nothing, I guess, very specific that I've learned from like clients in general, because
Yeah.
like I'm always trying to stay ahead as much as
Mhm.
I can. So it's like I'll go out
Yeah.
of my way and like drop copious amounts of money to try and learn to stay ahead of
Yes.
the game as much as I
Yeah.
can. Um, but yeah, I think just learning from them as people more so than learning
Yeah.
anything to do specific with my job
Yeah.
is a big one.
Yeah. I think that'd be like the soft skill of, I guess actually like a big thing for me was, and I guess it's kind of useful for me because I came up as someone not intellectually apt, like I
Yeah.
was, or adept, if you will. Like it took a lot for me to learn to read literature. I'm still doing it. Like I definitely haven't nailed it now. Like I still slip up on the way I read certain studies or data breakdowns, but I often go back and revisit how I got to this conclusion or what the actual summary was and the conclusion was, yada yada. But realizing that people don't want to know so much the data, they just want to know how they get there some of the time. And
Yeah.
it's kind of our job to have that array of knowledge and be able to, I guess, like teach it in a simplified way that they can take it home without being like, well, here's that research piece I need to go read to find out. They just want to be told like, is this possible? How did this happen? Or why does this do this? Is there a correlation here? And you kind of got to take a step back and remember that they're they're coming from such a perspective that, I'm used to talking at this level of things or like studying this stuff. and you get these like, and sometimes like a derogatory way. It's just that we don't know what we don't know. Like I don't know about electrics when it comes to like AC DC currents. I'm not a
Yeah, of
Sparky,
course. Yeah. It's something you
but
feel.
I can tell you that fucking the voltage goes up and down on certain things. Like I can tell you
Yeah.
the basics.
Yeah.
You get those clients, and it's kind of like, well, I thought I was teaching it in a way that was understandable, and now it teaches me that I have to go back and even review how I was teaching that point or
Yeah.
discussing that topic,
Yeah.
and reassess or kind of correct that delivery.
Yeah.
So then
100%.
it's sort of teaching me the levels to people's comprehension, and then
Yeah.
I can modify. Something I've become very good at is modifying my delivery or message or language to the person, and I find that that's helped me diversify my client intake. Like, still, the
Yeah.
spectrum of people is kind of similar.
Yeah.
Goals are different, but the personality type is very similar. But being able to talk across the spectrum of intelligence around, say, literacy of nutrition or training
Yeah.
of PEDs, you get to that kind of like, well, I can sort of modify this to the intellect of the person on that topic.
Yeah.
Whereas, when I started, it was like, oh, everyone's going to talk about this. Or like, I was thinking of problems from this angle only because this made the most sense. But then you got to realize that people down here that don't even know that problem exists. They're looking at it from this perspective. And obviously you don't know what you don't know. So they'll get to that question one day maybe, but they're all the way down here and need to be raised up. I was kind of starting here and trying to bring them to me.
Yeah.
Obviously not kind of the easiest way to do it. So that's
Yeah.
probably been a big thing for me this year.
Yeah, I was going to say something. I was just sort of reflecting when you're talking, and it brought up a point that I think having the clients that I've got, and I've had them for so long, that it's funny that I've noticed that their level of understanding has gone up as well. So it's like I don't have to be as simplistic with my language use.
Mm-hmm.
I can use, again, fortunate that a lot of them are either coaches or also do work in the field. So I mean,
Mm-hmm.
it makes it a bit easier in that aspect. But
Mm-hmm.
also, yeah, understanding concepts and models that I'm implementing, and they're starting to see it and being able to make adjustments to themselves. And I guess that's the carry-on effect or the flow-on effect, where they're able to then adjust where needed and still sticks within the models that we employ because they understand the model and the concept, and that's pretty cool. But to see, because it's almost like they don't need me, which is awesome. Because I mean, at the end of the day, that's sort of the whole point. Like I'm trying to build a framework for them to take away and just be like, cool, like I'll come back to you when I need you, bro. It's like that's the whole point.
And it's kind of the premise to the foundation of self-determination theory, and it's kind of a premise of how I structure coaching. Is the three heads are basically autonomy, competence, and relatedness. You want to build a community of people that feel connected to each other, because the more people that feel connected in the same direction, feel more motivated.
Yeah.
You display competence. You assure yourself you know what you're doing. You can do it. You can achieve it. Reiterates motivation. And then you display autonomy. Like, you start to get clients give you suggestions for, hey, this happened. I was thinking of doing this. Cool, do it.
Yeah.
This was happening, or this consequence. Like, one of my young blokes messaged me over Christmas. I couldn't stick to my usual plan because we're moving house and the power.
Yeah, something happened. Yeah.
Something happened. You're like, cool. What was your what was your strategy through this? I was thinking about doing this, and I'll back off here, but I can do this. Sweet. Work from what we can do and work down.
Work top down always. Yeah.
Exactly. And so, you start getting that sort of autonomy, competence, relatedness. You've got motivation. You've got people who they want to do these things now for themselves.
Yeah. 100%.
Last question I had. What is proper etiquette if you shart mid rep on leg day? Is it exercise depending?
Just keep fucking going. Finish your set, bro. What's wrong with you?
Why are you fucking stopping the
Yeah,
set?
it's like I tell people, I don't give a fuck if you shit. Like in powerlifting comps, I don't give a fuck if you shit yourself. Finish the lift. Don't care.
Yep.
It looks worse if you shit yourself and don't finish the lift.
Then you shit yourself for nothing.
Yeah. Like, you look like a boss if you shit yourself and get the lift and get white lights. Like,
exactly.
Just fucking finish it. Finish your set, bro.
There's been this weird surgence of, and I've noticed of female powerlifters talking about like peeing themselves on the platform or whatever.
Yeah.
Not going into it, don't care. But I'm like, if they can do about that, then if you come to me and say, "Oh, I shit myself, I didn't finish the lift," why?
Yeah, 100%.
You can hide the shit. Go to the toilet afterwards.
Yeah, 100%. Just fucking do what you got to do, man. Just
it's already happened.
People look at you, laugh, and fucking eyeball them, and be like, "Finish your set while eyeballing them." Fuck it.
Yeah.
Send it.
I'm going to finish this with a shit in my pants and look at you.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, that's what we've got there from Mui.
What have we got? So I did put up usual questions, and then what's your New Year's resolution, just to see what people are saying. And I guess the the main one, be less shit, is my usual go-to.
Yeah, that's a good
Which
one.
is standard. I've got someone that says they want to compete in a powerlifting comp. I mean, I do know a coach or two for that, just in case you were wondering. Um, is there a certain time frame to eat before training to promote performance?
The rate of digestion from carbohydrates.
Yeah, is there a certain time to eat before training to promote? It's such a nuanced question because it's like
Yeah.
you got to look at time of training and
Mhm.
then overall nutrition
Yeah.
to focus on like that small nutrient timing thing. So it's like
Yeah.
if you look at the pyramid and the pyramid of nutrition, I guess, and it's like we know that nutrient timing is so high on the pyramid that it's so insignificant. Like if we're going,
Yeah.
from base up,
Yeah.
um, yeah, it's not as important as covering the bases or the basics.
Yeah.
Obviously making sure that your adherence is there, making sure that your macro splits, micro splits are, pretty much bang on and that you're on enough food or
Mhm.
food based on your goal. And that's when then nutrient timing would come into play. Like if you're in a deficit, if
Yes.
you're in a surplus, it doesn't fucking matter. Just
Yeah.
eat when you want, train.
Yeah.
Provided the food doesn't cause issues for you training, like
Yeah.
shitting yourself. Uh, um, if you're in a deficit, the nutrient timing has a much more important effect. And in that case, depending on what food you're having, the type of food, anywhere between sort of 30 to 90
Mhm.
minutes, we'll call it pre-training, based on the size of meal and type of food that you're eating is usually the best way to go about it. Or simply have like an intra um, beverage. So whether you have something that's got a bit of dextrose in it and
Yeah.
some EAAs is usually a good way to go about it. But yeah, again, it's such an open-ended question. It's like, need a bit more detail. Is Ben's resolution to grow back the mustache?
Nah, I think
I
it's done.
fucking hope not.
No, I've seen it. I know it. This popularity of Bumstead's made it getting flogged again,
Yeah,
and like I just did it because I was like, oh, it's stuck. I can grow a mustache. Never been able to grow them before, but like seeing classic, like I wouldn't have. I don't think I would have suited on prep on stage. Like I think I had the classic look without it anyway. Like
yeah,
it's just such a like novel detail. It's like, yeah,
yeah,
Chrissy pulls it off because it's Bumstead,
yeah.
and
Like he
it's
can
just
because he's Chris
yeah,
Bumstead.
it's Bumstead. Where the fuck he
Yeah,
was. He can
yeah,
walk out with his dick swinging for all I care,
yeah.
and he's still getting
And
to
he's
present
still
like
going to win the show.
exactly. So yeah, but because and this is what we were talking about at Olympia was the streaming just dropped off as soon as Classic came on because obviously like Bumstead, everyone in the world is watching. I'm a bodybuilding fan. No, you just know Chris Bumstead. It's
Yeah,
like me saying that I know Tom Brady, therefore I'm an NFL fan. Like
yeah.
I'm not.
No, 100%.
And that's kind of like that mixed with like the Brock Tops has just really started to take over gyms. Purely because like obviously he's got that fan club going on. So yeah, no, for me it was a one and done thing, and I think it's been retired.
Yeah, fair. Good. Keep it there. Bully Ben until he grows some legs.
Oh, fuck out of here. These are first place legs, motherfucker.
Yeah, so to be fair, he's got some pipes on him. Like, don't get me wrong. He's got some quads on him. I've been there. I've seen him. I've touched them with
they
with,
need
with
work. Don't get me
tan.
wrong. Like I was the first to say they need work, but this is progress. They've come up.
Yeah, no, they're juicy. They're there. That's okay.
I'd say it's like relatively in balance now. I'd say it's just like yeah, I'd say I mean the gold medal says that they're at least balanced enough to win.
No,
Balance and
I mean
structure and symmetry
you
is kind of
can't
part of the
yeah,
criteria.
you can't argue a first place in like classic where everything needs to be balanced.
That's what I thought. So
Anyway,
I just don't I don't think they're a dominant like
no, I think obviously the person like it's Ewan. He's just talking shit.
I know. But
Yeah,
fuck you.
yeah.
So I'm
He's
gonna
just
answer
he's
this
just he's just
question properly.
he's just talking shit. But it's like
Yeah.
it's funny because it's like the goal of obviously now moving into like the open bodybuilding. We want to or bodybuilding we'll call it. The goal is to have legs where you walk out and you're like fuck,
Yeah.
like they're the things that you look
Yeah.
at first. You're like, where did that come from?
Yeah.
And then the rest comes out. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Yeah. And at the
And
moment, it's
so
probably more like chest, shoulders, arms, or
yeah.
like you're like, oh shit, and then legs like, no, they're all right, but they
Yeah.
don't take the eye or the gaze
Yes.
first and foremost. But we
And
got
it's
2 years to
interesting
change that, so that's fine.
that was talked about on the bro chat with Martin Fritzwater, where and it's kind of just a general sense about most bodybuilders is the ones that are balanced aren't eye catching because they're so balanced. Whereas you got like Ramy with dominant quads, or you've got like Walker with dominant shoulders, or Derek's got his tight waist to lat ratio.
Yeah,
There's
100%.
those one outline pieces that make you look so freaky that it draws attention to. Whereas the guys who have the balance and symmetry aren't quite as attended to because they're just in balance.
Yeah.
Which is kind of like, to me, where I'm like, I think that's where the point I'm at now, where I definitely can always say, everything needs to be bigger, but like I've brought my legs up enough now where it's kind of like things are in check.
Yeah.
It's not like a dominant spot where it's like, oh, your legs are shit. It's just like they're not great. Okay,
No,
cool. Let's keep growing my legs.
they're not lagging enough to worry about.
But enough that I still want to grow them.
100%. There's
Forever.
never not enough growing going on here, so it's gonna be fun. Like I said, we've got 2 years, so
Exactly. Fucking this rate, I'm holding back at 100. Like, fuck.
yeah,
Next 12 months is going to be stupid.
yeah, exactly right. Well, that's all the questions I've got.
Beautiful.
I guess we'll wrap it up there for this year, 2022. Done and
Fucking
dusted.
done.
Yep.
By the time you hear this, it will be
Saturday, it'll be New Year's Eve. Will come out, so you can have a listen, enjoy, and we will catch up with you guys in the new year. New year, new us.
Yeah, for sure.
Fuck that. New year, same us. Let's be real.
New year, worse me. What do you mean?
100%.
100%.
100%. All right, guys. As always, if you do have any questions, concerns, anything you want to tell us, feel free to DM Ben. No, throw it in the question box that we put up.
Another good thing would be
Wednesday
any
mornings.
sort of episode topics or anything you have for the new year that you'd like us to cover or expand. And I think that'd be
Please.
good for us to kind of.
Any rants you want us to go on, please send it.
Start preempting and let us know. Get us ahead of time so we can warm up to it.
Yeah, just don't do the whole like new year, new gym people. Like, don't. That's the only one. It's like I cannot be bothered ranting about that because it's not a rant. Like, good on them.
Yeah, the stuff we know is
look after them. Yeah, give them some encouragement. But if you got some juicy stuff, let us know.
Yeah, exactly.
That is it from us, guys.
All right, guys.
Have a safe and happy new year, and goodbye.